everybody. My name's Alan. On behalf of the crew, I'd like to welcome you to another edition of Bridging Heaven and Earth. You know, I mean, we do this show live. We do it live out of Santa Barbara, California. We do it probably 25 times a year. And probably a good portion of those times I say, you know, on the ride over here, I was just thinking about coming in and doing the show and the incredible collaborative effort it takes to do this show, and the love and the joy that everyone feels. And tonight when I was driving in, I was thinking, what is happiness in this life? How can all of us as human beings on this incredible, glorious planet which has so much to offer, how can we know happiness, true happiness? And the answer that came, and the answer that's come basically throughout history, is to know the root of our lives, to know the truth of what we as human beings and everything else is, to know that oneness, to know God. And so much of our lives are spent seeking that love and that happiness externally, that with fame, with fortune, with finding Mr. or Ms. Right, that's going to bring us happiness. And when we look around, and obviously that is not the answer. So how do we recognize, in a sense, once and for all, or to change the momentum so that gear switch in our lives starts to really recognize where our happiness, our love, our truth, our connection to everything lies? And for those of you who watched Bridging Heaven and Earth before, know that that's what the intention of the show is to put out message after message after message, vibration after vibration after vibration, to awaken in all of us, to reawaken, to awaken, to reawaken, to enliven at whatever level we are. Who couldn't have more compassion? Who couldn't have more love? Who couldn't have more connection to that oneness? Everyone here. So literally, people come from all over the world to share that experience they've had with us here and with you. And tonight, those of you who've seen Michael Tamura before know how honored we are and how blessed we are to have Michael come and to want to participate with us and joyously participate with us, to bring his level of love and consciousness in a really special way tonight to Bridging Heaven and Earth. As most of you know, Michael's a world-renowned teacher. He's a healer. He's a clairvoyant. He started many and most of the psychic institutes in the United States. He's literally been a teacher of teaching psychics to be psychic for 25 years now. His new book, You Are the Answer, is an extraordinary guide to entering the sacred dance with life and to understanding and then fulfilling your soul purpose. And what we decided, Bridging Heaven and Earth and Michael, I mean, he's been on before, and then when it came to this season, we said, well, how are we going to expand? How are we going to, you know, take that message, take that love? He's done healings, he's described healings, he's described the psychic experience. And tonight what he's going to do is do a mini workshop to teach tools to bring all of us more into connection with that love, with that oneness. And then we're honored to have Michael do what we've called, arrogantly or not, a world healing, because Michael is an extraordinary healer. So to bring that love, to bring that vibration, to bring that consciousness right through the cameras into that knowing, into that truth, into that connection between us all. And then we also have an extraordinary video with another old friend of Bridging Heaven and Earth about Jerry Wenstrom, the Holy Personal video. So there's an opportunity tonight to go one step, a million steps, to recognize, maybe once and for all, where our true happiness lies. So as we normally do, join me in a short meditation. Let's get settled in. Let's open this show up to Michael. Let Michael's love and joy collaborate with you and to experience more of that for all of us. So we'll go to a short meditation. Hi. Okay, so we're going to start tonight's show with a really beautiful video. If Jerry Wenstrom has been a guest on the show, he's just a real supporter of Bridging Heaven and Earth. This video, the whole Holy Personal video, was given to us by John Wackman, who's the producer of the New Morning television show, which is a daily morning show on the Hallmark Channel, and it's about the sacred in the everyday. It's a beautiful thing. It's based on a new book by Laura Chester, Sacred Spaces of Worship, the Holy Personal book. And it basically shows Jerry's prayer tower on Whidbey Island. So it's a beautiful video, so we're lucky to have it. So, Holy Personal.
Jerry Wenstrom's flaming stupa tower is on Whidbey Island, Washington. Stupa is sort of a holy Buddhist monument. Whidbey Island is a very verdant environment. It's very lush. There are these tall fir trees all around the stupa tower. Jerry had created a winding walkway that was filled with crushed automobile windshield glass, with little bricks within, but it was a very curious sensation to walk on this crushed glass. He said, you know, to enter the sacred, you have to walk on broken glass. The prayer tower itself is built on top of a water holding tank, so it's already very elevated. The tower itself is just a small 8-foot square room with a 36-foot high steeple, so you feel like when you look up, that you're looking right up into the heavens. Jerry is sometimes known as one of the 7 wonders of Whidbey Island. He said, well, you know, this chapel is just made out of junk, but it's junk in the hands of an alchemist. And much of the material that he made it with was either donated or given to him, or found material like the cedar siding. Outside the entrance to the prayer tower, there's an old fire extinguisher that he actually made into a Tibetan prayer wheel. You can write down your little prayer and slip it in the slot and give it a spin. And everything, he said, seemed to work with this amazing synchronicity. Even when I called him to let him know about this project of the Holy Personal book, he said, it's amazing that you just called me, because I felt like just this morning I finished the prayer tower. And he said, it's like a christening phone call I received from you. Well, when they were ready to bless the chapel, it just happened that there were 9 visiting Tibetan monks, and they agreed to come over and do a blessing on the chapel. He said that they were very playful. They had such a wonderful feeling about them. Can you imagine 9 monks coming into this little 8-foot square space, and they're all sitting there and chanting for 3 hours and throwing the rice and doing the chod drum. Jerry witnessed it from afar and just said that, you know, the tower glowed, and so did his heart. When I think of Jerry, I really think of his incredible generosity of spirit. If he wanted to boil it down to 2 words, it would be just give. Even the prayer tower itself was this gift of love to his wife.
Well, it's great to have
Thank
you.
Great.
So in the introduction, I talked a little bit about, you know, the mini workshop and a healing. Why don't you describe, you know, basically what you're going to do, and then, you know, we'll go into it in a little while.
Well, I'd like to give your viewers and the studio audience some psychic tools, spiritual tools, to start to heal themselves. And you were introducing, we're going to heal the world today, and in a few minutes.
We're looking forward to it. Yeah. People seem to think it could use some healing in different spots.
Exactly, and that's something I've been getting from people a lot recently, It's the question, well, what can I do to heal the world, help heal the world? What can I do to bring healing into the world? And as the saying goes, healer, heal thyself first. And all healing starts from within. And all the healing of the world, as your show, Bridging Heaven and Earth, we're the bridge. All of us, each of us is the bridge between heaven and earth, heaven being spirit and the inner divinity, and earth being the world. And in order to bring the healing into the world, it has to come from within us first. So we have to learn to heal ourselves, and in the process, the healing starts to spread into the world. And I like to do that tonight, is start with some tools to help heal ourselves, and then we'll end with a healing of the world.
Wow. Boy, this is some night, huh? Pretty exciting, isn't it? All right, are you ready?
Sure.
All right, let's go.
Hello, everyone. As we were talking, I'd like to give you some tools that's going to help you be able to heal yourself and then extend that healing into the rest of the world around you. What happens is each one of us is a broadcasting station, a psychic broadcasting station, and at the same time, each one of us is a type of TV set like the one you're watching. Your TV set gets sounds and images that it receives from the broadcasts, and we're like that too. We receive, on the psychic airwaves, we receive thoughts, images, feelings from everyone around us. Some of us are very, very sensitive to that and recognize that, gee, we feel kind of off. I don't feel myself today. Things like that. And yet the energies that we pick up from everything around us occupies so much of our awareness sometimes that we start to lose the connection with our inner source. We are all born with a psychic connection, and yet over the course of the years of growing up and all the intensity of the energies of people around us, the demands, the expectations, the experiences we have, traumas that we experience, occupies so much of our attention and awareness that often we start to forget to tune in to our inner broadcasts. And so we start tuning in more and more to everything out there, subconsciously all the time. Many of us worry about, gee, how is he feeling? What's going on with her? We worry about our children. We worry about our families. We worry about our partners and friends and business associates. And so every time we worry, we're subconsciously tuning in. We're turning our frequency to those of others and what's wrong with them, what's bothering them, what's hurting them. And so those of us especially who are healers and those of us who are really interested in helping others, we're often doing this unconsciously. Then what happens is we start to overload our system. We start to be inundated with all the energy that we could pick up from other people, especially the negative ones, because that's the ones we're most concerned about. The happy part, like Alan was talking about earlier, how do we find our happiness? Well, the areas that are already happy in people, we're not concerned about. We're concerned about the parts where they're suffering, where they're not doing well. So we tend to pick that up all the time. And so tonight, what I'd like to do is to start with a little bit of how do we discern whether what we're picking up psychically is really ours, or do they belong to other people? Are we trying to solve the thoughts and emotional problems that belong to others? Well, we can't do that. If we didn't create it, we really can't internalize and solve those within ourselves. So we keep on banging our head against a wall often and fail in solving these problems, fail in healing ourselves. We have to be able to recognize, oh, this isn't mine, so I have to let it go. Doesn't mean we can't help others, as you will see in a bit. So first of all, if you who are watching this on your TV and those of you in the studio audience, if you can kind of just relax, sit comfortably, breathe naturally for a moment, and just the best possible way is to have both feet flat on the ground and sit up fairly straight but very natural and relaxed, and take a few deep breaths, please. And many of you might wish to close your eyes, and you can take a peek since you're watching TV. You don't have to keep your eyes closed the whole time, but if you would periodically close your eyes and find your space within. And as you breathe, become aware of your body. And the first step is, this is something you can practice all the time during the course of a day, is stop for a moment and just notice what you're feeling. Okay? And just notice what you're feeling, and ask yourself on an intuitive knowing level, just off the top of your head, ask yourself, how much of what I'm feeling right now doesn't belong to me? How much of what I'm feeling right now are feelings, emotions, energies, and problems that belong to others? See what you get. On a scale of 0 to 100%, what's your intuitive knowingness tell you? Do you get 54%, 25%, 78%? Whatever you get off the top of your head, start to trust this, because you'll be practicing this. As you practice this, you'll get better and better at it. And notice, right now, 55% of what I'm feeling belongs to other people. It's not my own feelings from within me, but it's the feelings that I'm picking up from everybody else's broadcasts, or maybe even a couple of people's broadcasts. So then once you recognize, okay, let's say 55% is not mine, then would you decide that that part of your awareness that's holding on to that 55% of energy that's not yours, would you just decide to let it go? Would you just decide that you can let go of that awareness and instead turn that awareness back into being aware of your own feelings, being aware of the energy within you? So direct your awareness, as you let go of other people's feelings, direct your awareness to feel what is inside of you, what's inside of your own being, your own energy. And notice the changes that you start to notice in your feelings. Now you can also do this with the thoughts. Be aware of the thoughts that you have in your head right now. And as you're aware of the thoughts going through your head, ask yourself, ask the knowingness within you, how much of the thoughts I have going on right now are truly mine? How much are not mine? How many of the thoughts in you are not yours? Get a percentage. So you might get something like 70% isn't mine. So again, the same thing is, just decide you're going to let go of that 70% that you're tuned into that's not your thoughts. You're picking up on other people's thoughts. Let that go. And direct that part of your awareness to become aware of the energy within you, the thoughts of your inner being. Just decide to tune your awareness into your own energy within. And notice what happens now. Just notice any of the subtle changes in your feeling, in your head, in your thoughts. Notice how the energy starts to change as you drop off tuning in to other people's broadcasts for the time being. Now, there is an important aspect of picking up other people's signals when we need to do so. But it's important to be aware when we're doing that and when we're just picking it up and becoming the effect of it. So we're turning our awareness more toward our own energy within. Now, as you breathe deeply and relax further, if you'll notice, right above the tip of your tailbone is an energy center. It actually looks like a disc of energy, of light, that's about a size of a $50 piece. And from there, this is a center of self-preservation. And from there, we're going to construct a grounding cord. This could be an image of a huge tree trunk. It could be a pole, it could be a tube, it could be a water slide, whatever that works for you in terms of conductivity. An image that you have a sense of conducting energy. This is grounding. We're going to connect this to the center of the earth. So basically what you're doing with this grounding cord is connecting this energy center right above the tip of your tailbone, and imagine this grounding going all the way down to the center of the earth, hooking into there. And you need to use no effort here. It's just your imagination. This is the beginning of healing, and validating of spirit begins with your imagination. Okay, so as you ground yourself, just imagine that you're releasing everything that's not yours. This is the next step of starting to empty out yourself of all foreign energies so that you could be more in contact, have more connection with your own energy source within. So what you might do is notice any tensions in your body. And imagine that there's little psychic fists that's holding foreign energy, other people's problems in your body, holding the tension. So imagine that you're holding the tension in these little hands all throughout, wherever the tensions are, and imagine opening those fists up. Just like when you're holding something really tight, and when you open your fists up, they fall out of there. So just imagine that you're opening these little fists that's holding on to the tension, and it's dropping all the foreign energies, all the problems out of you, and it goes right down that grounding to the center of the earth. Will it be recycled? Imagine also these little hands are holding on to emotional energies that you weren't able to deal with before. So if you'll just imagine opening up those hands and releasing all the emotional energy that you've been holding on to inside of you. Just let it go, and let it go ground down the grounding cord to the center of the earth. Notice what starts to happen as you do this. And remember to breathe deeply and naturally. Any thoughts, any other people's problems, just imagine you're holding it in your fists inside of your body, inside of your being, and then just releasing the fists, opening up those hands and releasing everything out of there, letting it go down the grounding. Notice what starts to happen. Now, as you're grounded, you can always practice this throughout your day to visualize, imagine that grounding cord connecting the center, energy center right above your tailbone down to the center of the earth. Just releasing things as they come in, just letting it go, not resisting anything, and just letting it pass right on through you down the grounding. You'll be able to handle much more energy. This will be especially important with Christmas season and shopping and all of that. When you go to crowded malls, rush hour traffic, you'll be able to release the energies so that you don't take it home with you or you don't become the effect of it. Now, as you're grounding, I'd like you to become aware of validating spirit. How can you validate spirit? One way of validating spirit is becoming aware that spirit is. It exists. And your spirit. So you exist. So just become aware and validate that you are. Just decide, I am. We assume we exist most of the time. We become unconscious of validating that we are spirit and that we are. Notice what starts to happen as you consciously validate that you are. Now, the next part is, would you become aware? Center your awareness behind your eyes, in the center of your head. Just decide you're going to sit there with your awareness behind your eyes. We have a tendency to look out of our eyes and jump out of our head and our body and go places, because as spirit we could be anywhere, anytime, anyhow. But to center yourself, just decide, remind yourself that you can be behind your eyes, and as you are behind your eyes, just decide again, I am. Validate spirit. All healing begins with validation of spirit. Every time you validate spirit, the conditions of your existence, the conditions in your life will start to improve. Every time you invalidate spirit or ignore or deny spirit, then the conditions you find yourself in will start to deteriorate, will be more destructive. That's how simple, ultimately, healing really is. Part of the difficulty that most of us have in healing ourselves and healing one another is that we make it really complicated. Spirit is extremely simple. The less effort you use, the more it works. Okay, now remember to breathe. Breathe deeply. Get some air into those lungs. Now, as you're centering your awareness behind your eyes, I'd like you to notice that you're aware of a lot of things. You may be aware of the temperature, you may be aware of discomfort, you may be aware of emotions, you may be aware of thoughts. Now, let them be, and be aware that you are aware. This is another level of validating spirit. Decide that you can be aware that you're aware. Be aware of that awareness that's being aware of all the other things. So what you're doing is you're turning your awareness toward the awareness itself instead of attaching to the things that you're aware of, the energies that you're aware of. Just let go of all the things you're aware of and just be aware that you are aware. And notice what happens now. Notice how different your space, notice how different you're feeling, notice how different your whole being is from the time you started this little exercise practice session. Every little change, don't invalidate that. In healing, it is actually a whole series of little changes. Sometimes when it goes really fast, it seems like a dramatic healing takes place. But in actuality, it's very subtle steps that happens. Okay, now what I'd like you to do is imagine a golden sun, a ball of golden energy, beautiful, radiant golden energy, full of life force, like the sun radiates all this life force. So imagine this beautiful golden sun above your head, and just start to slowly bring that gold sun in from above your head into the top of your head, and start to fill your whole body and your whole being up with this radiant life force. Just gradually bring it in more and more into the body so that this gold life force fills you up from the top of your head to the tips of your toes and your fingertips. Let it permeate every cell of your body. And just enjoy that. Just notice all this life force coming in, and just have an attitude of giving to yourself, giving this energy, re-establishing, revitalizing, renewing your whole body and your space. And as you fill up your whole body with this golden energy, would you let it radiate out from the body so that it starts to go circle all around you? This energy permeates throughout, all around your body, maybe 2, 3, 4 feet around you. So that now your whole body is in this cocoon of golden energy, this life force. You're replenishing that energy field around you, the aura. And feel that energy. And as you do so, there's another level of validating spirit. Spirit is energy. So in validating spirit, you validate the energy. Become aware that you are this energy. Experience yourself as energy. This radiant energy, vibrating energy. Just be that energy, be that radiance, and notice what starts to happen. Now, as you're starting to rejuvenate this whole space that you occupy, this is your space. It's important, just like a gardener taking care of the garden. You have to water the soil and weed the garden for the plants to be healthy and grow strong. In the same way, you need to take care of your space, your psychic space. This is where you pick up all the energies, the signals, the broadcasts from other people. This is a vast space of communication on so many levels. And the biggest part of healing is actually communication. Many people are not aware of the expanse of communication that you use daily. Sometimes they only listen to the words verbally spoken by somebody or their body language. But communication is far more than that. We're communicating all the time as spiritual beings. We're radiating our creativity, our thoughts, our feelings, and broadcasting them all around us. What do you notice? So validating spirit is the beginning of all healing, validating that you are, validating that you are aware, validating that you are energy. Now remember to breathe. And imagine this aura, the energy field around you. We carry a lot of energy in this aura energy field. And so a very simple way to clean up this aura, it's like taking a psychic shower. So each of us usually takes a bath or a shower pretty much every day. But on a psychic level, often most people don't. So this is a quick way to clean up your aura. Imagine that your aura is all bright, and that wherever you have foreign energies, energies that you picked up, that you didn't know what to do with, energies that you unconsciously held on to from other people, let those areas, those pockets of energy, become like dark areas in your aura. So your whole aura is really bright, but the areas where you hold energy, where there's resistance, let them be dark areas, dark spots. And then just imagine having a psychic sponge, a soft psychic sponge, and just go around all throughout your aura, wherever there's these dark spots, these dark areas. Just use that psychic sponge and sponge off all the dark areas, like soaking up ink. Just go around and imagine soaking up all the dark areas until your whole aura is bright. And notice what happens as you're soaking up all the dark areas in your aura. Not only does it become brighter, but you may notice a difference in how you feel as well. This is a very quick and simple way of starting to heal yourself on a spiritual level. Now, for a lot of people, imagination might not seem real. Oh, that's just your imagination. It's not real. This is a great invalidation on a spiritual level that most of us tend to get during our growing up years. I'm sure everybody's heard that at least once. Oh, that's just your imagination. It's not real. But in actuality, imagination is the beginning of creating the reality. If you use your imagination in the past or in the future, it's not real. It's fantasy. Such as when you go, you almost had an accident in the freeway and you go, whoa, I could have been killed. That's using your imagination and creating something that's not real. It's a fantasy. That's using the imagination in the past of what could have happened in the past, but it didn't. Or, gee, if I don't pay my rent in time, I'm going to be homeless. That's projecting your imagination in the future. It's all made up. Now, if you dwell on it long enough, you might end up creating something like that, but at this time, it's not real. It's just a fantasy. But imagination used here and now, such as you did with imagining that grounding, or imagining that sponge and cleaning out those dark areas of foreign energies, that is real, as many of you can feel. The grounding settles you down. It makes you more stable. And if you want to practice this with a partner, it's really fun, where have the partner be, say, standing, and you're standing across from each other, and without grounding, without doing anything, push each other and see how easily the person's pushed. And then have your partner ground. And after they ground themselves, then push that partner and see what you notice. You'll find that that partner is much more stable, much more grounded, hard to push over. And this is the same on an energetic level. The person will be able to handle a lot more energy without being overwhelmed. So that imagination is used to create a whole new space for yourself, and it's real, it works. So as long as you're using your imagination here and now, you could become more aware of an inner reality. If you imagine, for example, that you can see an aura, like I do. If you imagine, if you can see an aura, what would it look like? And you become very receptive. The imagination, instead of projecting something you expect to see or projecting something that you want to see, if you use your imagination in a neutral level, in present time, you'll start to exercise that part through which you're able to access the spirit, to access the awareness, your inner awareness. You'll be able to see more and more. Okay, now we were talking about healing yourself first, but then how does that affect healing the world around you? Now we're going to do a little experiment here to heal the world, to radiate this healing that you've been doing with yourself now into the world more. So now, if you'll continue with that golden sun image, imagine that you're filling yourself even more. Okay? You're giving to yourself all this healing, and imagine that golden sun being a very soft, kind of a golden rosy color, and do so with compassion, kindness, and just start to fill yourself up more and more with this compassion, kindness, and this golden rose energy. Giving has to go 360 degrees all the way around. When we try to give only to ourselves but not to them, it doesn't work. When we try to give only to you but not to me, it doesn't work. Giving has to go in a circle. Giving has to go in every direction. So for giving to really work, instead of giving it all away at somebody else's expense, ours or someone else's, to really give, we need to fill ourselves up. We need to truly give to ourselves so much that we start to overflow. And just like when you pour water into a cup and it starts to overflow, it overflows all the way around in a 360-degree circle. And the same thing happens if you start to give to yourself and you start to fill yourself up. Fill yourself up with everything that you need. Just continue to fill yourself up, and when you are filled up, when you are full, and you continue to fill yourself up even more, you start to overflow. Now imagine overflowing. Imagine overflowing with this energy. Imagine overflowing with this kindness. Imagine overflowing with this compassion. Imagine overflowing with all this energy, and that this energy starts to overflow into the world around you. First, the immediate world around you, the people around you. It just overflows. And then it starts to ripple throughout the whole earth. Just imagine it overflowing and overflowing and overflowing, so you're not depleting yourself. You're just overflowing with this abundance of kindness, of healing, of compassion. Just continue to overflow, and imagine the whole world filling up with this healing energy that's overflowing from you. And as you imagine the whole world turning gold, this beautiful, soft, golden, rosy color, the healing spreading throughout the whole planet. And imagine that you can see all the spiritual beings that are constantly taking care of this earth. On a clairvoyant level, those of you who can see, you'll see that there are many beings that are constantly tending to the garden that is our planet, and all the creatures, all the trees, all the minerals, and all the humanity that's on this planet. So just imagine that you can see these guides, these healers, these beings, these angels. And would you say mentally hello to them? See what you get back. Imagine you can communicate on a spirit-to-spirit level with all the spirit beings that are helping heal not only the planet, but all of humanity. Imagine you can communicate with the dolphins and the whales, the redwood trees, the eagles, and let all that healing expand throughout the whole planet, and you're part of that. Notice what you notice. Breathe deeply. Now, would you imagine one more big golden sun above your head, and gently bring this back in from the top of your head and fill your whole body up one more time. Replenish yourself. Send a kind and compassionate hello to the whole world, and give yourself a kind and compassionate hello as spirit. As you fill up your whole body, let that gold sun expand out from your body and permeate your whole aura around you. And as that happens, would you stretch and bend on over and drain off all the excess energy from the top of your head and your arms. Just dangle it between your legs for a moment, and then slowly come back up. And hello back. Okay. Ellen, do we have a little time for questions from the audience?
I think we could do that.
Okay.
So your feeling is that just by creating that, every time this show is played and people are doing that, then it's creating that tsunami of love. I love that expression.
Tsunami of love. That would be
Right.
great. Yeah.
That's just going out and rippling, because there's no time and space that
It's
way, and
all
it just
one.
keeps all one. So it just keeps.
Yes, spirit is all one. It just manifests in many, many different forms. And so whatever you do, it's like the air we're breathing, the atmosphere is all one around this planet. So whatever you put into the air here is eventually going to be in the air, in the atmosphere over China or India or Africa or anywhere else. And the same is with spirit. Whatever you do to spirit within you, you do to all of spirit. Whatever you do to spirit out there, so to speak, you do to yourself. And so as you cleanse yourself inside and out, and fill yourself up, then the overflow is going to affect the world around you in a really big way.
So you are the answer.
You are the answer.
And that's how you came up with the title. That if each of us starts to have that experience, then ultimately it's going to
Yes.
just be available for everybody.
Yeah. And the unique way that each one of us becomes is the answer, how we shape that answer that we are.
Right. Okay, well, I guess, why don't we take a question from the audience? I think somebody's at the mic now.
Michael,
Yes.
we're evolving tremendously with technology and scientifically, but do you think we're really evolving spiritually?
Yes. It goes hand in hand. In a sense, I feel that for a while, the technology was so much stronger evolvement. And now the spiritual part is starting to catch up to it. We're coming to a place where we have to be able to have both science and religion, technology and spirituality, our spirit and body. All the polar opposites are coming together at this time. And I think this is the place where it's all going to meet, where we have to be able to have both. And for a while, technology was really taking over everything. And now I have a feeling that it's the spirituality part is starting to come around.
Okay, is there a second question? I think there is. Okay.
Hello.
Yes, as a mother of two teenage boys, I see the livelihood of teenagers and children being inundated by all the activity visually in video games and on television. And I was wondering if you could give parents some direction as to how we can bring children into a spiritual place when we're competing with all these things that are out there for them.
Yes. Number one, don't compete with all those things out there, because competing is going against something and you feed it. And especially teenagers I love teenagers. It's a great time because it's when the final part of the soul is really coming into the body. And this has a lot to do with free will and the claiming of independence and becoming one's own person, so to speak. And so the worst thing with teenagers is to put any resistance into anything. So direct your energy and awareness toward what you would like to see instead of against what you don't want to see, whether it's violence or drugs or whatever like that. And because especially teenagehood is a time where they need a lot of options, and they're trying to bring forth teenagehood is probably the most important time in restoring the psychic connection they were born with. And a lot of times this is why teenagers are angry. They've lost their space. They've been invalidated and go, hey, I know all this stuff. I know who I am, but nobody believes me. Nobody recognizes it. So validating who they are, that's number one. And validating and trusting that within them is that same divine intelligence that's within you, the creativity that's within you. They have it all. In fact, they have less hang-ups than we do. You know, we've had more time to develop those hang-ups. So if you give them that validation, they come around. And also one thing to remember with teenagers is somebody said they're like a clam. You know, it's shut most of the time, and every so often it opens, and then goes like this. If you overdo it, when it opens like this, that's the time you can feed one thing. They don't need a lot, okay? They just need a little bit, and then that's enough. Back off. And then they'll open up more. Okay? But if you try to do too much at once, they'll clam up even more.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Wow.
You know, it's this the time has come for children, okay? Teenagers, younger children, even babies. In the Bible, it talks about, and the children shall lead them, and that is already starting to happen. And the kids that are coming in now, the souls that are incarnating now, they're so much more aware, and they're retaining their awareness. And many of these kids are getting very angry because when they go to school or when they go into these places with a lot of restrictions and rules and regulations, what they're angry about is they're being invalidated. They're saying, hey, I don't want my spirituality to be invalidated. I don't want to forget who I am and what I'm here to do. And so they're not going to stand for it. And there's so many. It's like before it was a few that would get through, and sooner or later it has a big effect of being beaten now. But now more and more are getting through, and by sheer numbers, I think there's going to be a big change.
So you're seeing like a quantum shift in a way.
Yes.
That the momentum is turned. So we've kind of hit the top of the mountain, although it seems to have taken quite a stint to get up there, and sometimes it still feels like we're pushing
Yeah,
up.
we're still pushing up, but this is the process. You know, you said quantum. It's like that because the energy has to build up enough. That's the slow part. But once the energy fully charges up, it's going to go really fast. The actual shift in consciousness, the shift in our existence, I feel it's going to be very quick once it reaches that peak.
So it's like the 100th monkey theory or
Yep.
whatever,
Mm-hmm.
when there's
once
enough,
it reaches there,
it just boom.
Yeah.
Boom out.
So, but getting there is, you know, the salmon spawning and swimming
the
upstream.
difficult part.
Yeah.
And part of it is that we're hitting like this crescendo of craziness in a sense. When we hit the top,
as we're
because
getting
up,
yeah.
into
It's like breaking the sound barrier. We're breaking the crazy barrier.
and we seem to be breaking it.
And-
You know,
yeah.
I think we're coming to the end of the show. It's amazing how these shows go so fast. So again, you know, thank you all for coming, and obviously I want to thank Michael for all of us for coming again. He drove in just special to do this show, and it's just an extraordinary experience for us all to come together. So if you want any information about Michael, call Alan 805-687-2053, and just remember all the things that Michael talked about, to just validate, to empower yourself, and then we can empower others. So good night, God bless you, we love you, thank you.